Let's take a look at how to make a connection between the front tire and wagon's bed. I'm going to start by making this star shape on the top. Now to make a star shape, I'll make a primitive object and then set it to roughly to the correct size. That size. Now going to the side view and making sure it's right in the center of the tire. For that one, I'll snap it to the center and then pull this one up right here. There we go. Now from the front again, and set the translate x to 0 so that it can come back in the center. Alright, so that's good. Now I'm gonna isolate selected. So here we go. So that we are just focusing on this object. Now I wanted to go into inputs and give it some caps. Subdivisions, set it to 2. So we got one at the bottom, one at the top there. Now within that, I wanted to go into vertex mode and pull this all the way up to here. So just the small, so we can extrude out the middle sections. So I'm going to pull it up to right here and scale this one a little outward, something like that. Alright, that should be good. Now we'll get rid of all the upper area. Going to select the vertex, Control F11 to convert into faces, grow selection, hit delete. I'm going to isolate selected. Now after isolate select, I'm going to grab this top ring and hit extrude one more time. Like let's extrude right up here, and now go into face mode, and from the top view I'm going to select every fourth one and then hit delete so we can get these little gaps in there. I'll select these edges again and extrude them out. So extrude all the way up to here, and then I'm going to pull this one in to make it a little sharp there. Since it's a circular shape, so we can repeat this one piece over and over 4 times to get the same exact shape. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete other faces except for this one. Now be careful about this is that you shouldn't move anything around this section, because this is where it's going to be combined with the others. Now we are ready to duplicate this over, and we will carry the rest of the stuff in there. So I'm going to edit, delete by type history, see how much history is there, and I'm going to also freeze transformation. Now Control D to duplicate, set rotate Y to 90, and then Shift D next time, so it would repeat and duplicate with the same values. Alright, so I'm going to grab all of them now, hit mesh, combine. Now when we combine, it makes all those pieces as a single object, but at component level it's still a separate object. How do we combine these at component levels? For that one, you need to select an object, go under edit mesh and click on merge. Those merge will combine any 2 vertices that are sitting on the top of each other. Now if I go back into faces and try to select, and it will select the entire object, that confirms that vertex is combined now. So basically merge combines it at component level, while just combine combines it at object level. I'm gonna remove this edge entirely, and we're going to do Control Delete since it's an edge. Now I'm going to select all these edges, hold Shift while doing it, and I'm going to hit bevel to give some roundness in that section. Now right after this, now notice that inside is black while the outside is gray. Now that's because of the normals. The shaded area which is gray is always going to be towards the normals. Now you can always switch normals if you need to, going under mesh display, reverse, and that will reverse the normals. Now see, inside is gray, outside is black. Now if you need, this is the way you can reverse it. Now normals are responsible for how light is going to behave with this object. The normals need to be at the correct side, basically at the visible side. Control F11, delete this, because in a reference there's a giant hole in here, and let's decrease this a little bit. And I wanted to grab this edge and bevel this so it has some roundness here a little bit like that. Let's give this up to 6. Right, this piece is almost there. So now we need to give this one a little bit thickness. To give it thickness, select an entire object, hit extrude, and then in the thickness section I'm going to put 0.01, and you can see there's a little thickness that came along to entire model. So I'll grab it, add it, delete by type history, and there we go. Now to bevel the corners, we don't need to select all these edges. We can, but it would take a while because edges won't go through. So you have to kind of keep holding shift and click on them one by one. So easy way would be go into face, because bevel can also be done at the face level. So I'm going to select one face, hold shift and double click on the second. See, that's going to select entire face all around these edges. Now while this is selected, click on bevel. Now see, it automatically bevels everything. Now what I want it to do here is friction a little bit more. I want to say 0.4, and segments are good, and that's it. Now go to object mode and hit 3 to check how it looks like. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. I do want to fix this shapes a bit. There's a little bit more low poly ends here. So to fix those, I'm going to hit 1 again, and I'm going to add some edge loops in these sections right in the middle. Control shift, I have edge flow off. I'm going to add 1 in each in the center with 50% snapping, and right about here. And then going into front view, I want to set the snap to 1 degree. That will allow me to do this snapping in a straight line. So here we go. So doing it this way, when you're off the model, it would allow you to do all different pieces at the same time. Now going back into the perspective view, hit 3. See how that shape kind of holds in with the round corners and nothing and no artifact. Alright, with that we are done with this piece. I'm going to unisolate it. So there seems to be a little bit gap here. I'm going to go into front view and cover that up to here. So I'm going to take these bolts, Control D duplicate, move them onto the front side. And since I'm only going to need 1, so I'm going to go under mesh, separate. And I'm going to isolate select while they're still selected. Get rid of all except for 1. And I'll select this and combine back into single. Unisolate, and let's move it to the correct place. Control D, and I'm going to move it to the other side right up here. Now we can combine these two, select these two, hit mesh combine, and now Control D to duplicate and rotate them 90 degrees right about here, and going to channel box 90 degrees. Alright, so that's now I'm gonna select all these, freeze transformation and delete history, modify freeze transformation, edit, delete by type history, and with that we are done with this piece.